Okay, so for this inquiry question, we're going to be considering how earthquake and storm deaths vary over time. We're going to be producing a radar graph that allows us to both compare how they change over time and also how they compare to each other. So for this, I'm working on the raw data country tab at the bottom. I'm going to need to select the year data. I'm going to want to also select the type of hazard data, and I'm going to want to select the total deaths that occurred as a result of that hazard. Okay, so once I've selected that, Command C, I can copy it. I've already produced a tab at the bottom of a sheet here called compound bar graphs. No, sorry, radar graphs. That's what we're doing. And there's some data at the top we'll come back to in a minute, but I'm going to copy and paste this data in just as it is. Now, if I was to try to plot the data as it currently looks, and again, sometimes a table works, but just looking at this, it's quite difficult to there's a lot of data, it's quite difficult to see, quite difficult to compare. So I need to visually present it, so I can insert a chart. Okay, the one it just gives me standard doesn't necessarily show me anything useful. What we're after here is this type here called other. It's called a radar chart. Not really sure. It's plotting years and total deaths. That's not what I want. So I'm going to just delete that. I'm going to have to do some formatting of the data, so it's in a format that is most useful for me to plot. Now, to do this, first of all, I'm going to change this total deaths to storm deaths, and then I'm going to change this. Okay, a new column here, earthquake deaths. Right. Eventually, I won't actually need this column in a minute, but for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking to take this data and plotting it next to each other, because you notice at the moment I've got two 1970s. So in events where there was both a storm and an earthquake in the same year, it's going to get confused. I want this to be kind of a timeline, so I need to just clear this up. So here I'm going to take this earthquake death, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it into there. So it's now same thing, 1970s, but I just clear up storms and earthquakes. So I need to go down every time I've got an earthquake. So that earthquake happened the same year as a storm. Get rid of that. Again, 1976, so get that one. Earthquake happened the same year as the storms. 1977, 77, and so on. So I need to do that for all of the data. Every time I get an earthquake, I need to take the earthquake and put it in the right year. Put the earthquake death, so 85. It's handy because I know earthquakes come first. I know I'm just moving it down and across. Earthquake. Okay, here there was nothing. Just must have been missing data there. It's okay. It's in 1999, 2002. Nearly there. A couple of events with no data there. 2012. There may have been earthquakes that caused no deaths, those ones. Or might be an issue with how it was recorded. 2016. And lastly, 2019. Okay, now I need to tie this up. I need to get what I actually need to do is I need to get rid of these. So the best way to do that, I'm going to hold down Command. I'm going to click on the number here. Oh, I forgot to copy that one. And don't want that one. Oh, guest appearance from Peanut there. It's this one. Good thing about this command function is if I make mistakes, I can easily change it. So I need to go up and I need to delete all of the rows which are duplicate dates and have no data. So quick scan. Yeah, got them all. Right click, delete selected rows. Okay. Oh, missed one there. So let's go back. Delete row. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to highlight the year column. I'm going to be plotting that on my chart. And too high. I'm going to ignore this disaster type because that only says storms anyway, so it's actually useless. I should probably delete that. I'm going to select the depth holes. Good thing about Google Sheets, it's going to plot these blank cells as zeros, so that's not going to cause me any issues. I'm going to press Insert. I'm going to hit Chart. Okay, that's a little bit more useful, not the most. I'm going to go on to Chart Type, scroll down to Other, find this one, Radar Graph. Okay, and now I've got that. And what that's showing me is around from 1970, the clock face around to 2019. I've got the axes here, so I can see that 1976 was big year for earthquake deaths, as was 1990, whereas storms, 1991, 2013 were the big deadly ones. So that's how I can produce a radar graph to show almost like a timeline of when those storms happened and where those earthquakes happened, where those earthquakes and storms caused the most deaths. And I hope we agree that's a much more simple way to read the data than as a big table. Now, I've already done the same thing slightly for the Philippines. But when we look at this, I did it a slightly different way, but same idea. Red for earthquakes, blue for storms. I haven't formatted it yet. You'll notice that it doesn't look like there's any storm there, so are they? Just very small. And the problem with this is that at the moment, I have two events that are really skewing the data and making it difficult for the radar graph to present this. And it looks like they're in 2011 or something in 1999. Now, 1995, sorry. Now I know in Japan, 2011 was the Tohoku earthquake, 1995 was the Kobe earthquake. Both of these were really, really deadly. And if I look across here, 1995, yeah, I've got a really high number. So I'm just going to delete that for a second. This isn't a good practice, but it just shows what will happen to the graph. And I'm going to go down here to 2011. So that was after Tohoku, big earthquake caused a tsunami, one of the most deadly, most costly earthquakes ever, so in Japanese history. Okay, and once I remove those, I've got a much clearer picture. Quite an attractive looking graph there as well. I can see here that earthquakes 1993, 1983, 2015, were kind of more deadly earthquakes, and then 74, 82, 2004 were when the kind of main storms happened and killed people. So I suppose what that's telling us is that when we've got a huge range in the data, or a couple of possibly anomalous events, a couple of events which are a much bigger event, a radar graph isn't the best way to necessarily show it. I just put those data back in, so you can see. Now, that's not something that is unique to radar graphs. There's actually something that is an issue with lots of different types. We could change it to a line graph, and again we've got that big bias of those two data points, which are really, really different. Now that's useful if we want to show the difference. Again, combo charts, that scatter graph, but then now it's not really comparing what I want to see because it doesn't have time anymore. I can put time along the bottom, this line chart. Maybe that's a more clear way, but actually I think the data is now skewed anyway. I can't see those two big events after all. So you can see we have a challenge with presenting data that has one or two really big or anonymous data that skews the range. Okay. Good luck with producing yours. Look forward to seeing what you make.